What's up, everybody? Today we are going to campaign for who is the most valuable or who was the most valuable wizard for the Washington Wizards this season. So let's talk about that and more next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. So again, appreciate you guys, man. What's up? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I'm gonna let you guys know I'll put it on the YouTube side and the Twitter, aka X side, that Friday we are doing a live awards show for this upcoming season for the Washington Wizards. So I'm gonna pull it up real quick what the categories are. But tonight we're gonna campaign for who is the most important or was the most important Wizard this season. So going to pull it up real quick, but to let you know what the categories are. So bear me 1 second. So again, we're gonna so I'll get into that. I don't waste time. I'm gonna get into it at the end. So tonight we're gonna go over who was the most important Wizard this season, and there are 3 candidates that I picked that are going to go for the award this Friday. Again, at 7:00 this Friday will be the live award show. So after this episode, I'm going to put the voting out there for the candidates, and I'm gonna put one in there for a write-in. So tonight's candidates for the most important or the most valuable Wizard this season is Kyle Kuzma, Deni Avdija, and interim head coach and hopefully coach Brian Keefe. So let's get into Kyle Kuzma first. Why should Kyle Kuzma be in consideration as a candidate for the most important or most valuable Wizard this previous season, or this season still on? So this season. So let's take a look at Kyle Kuzma real quick. He did average 22.2 points a game, 6.6 rebounds a game, 4.2 assists, shooting 46.3% from the field, and he shot 33.6% from three. So let's get into the positives first, right? 3 main areas that the most impressive by Kyle Kuzma. Number one, leadership. You know, he's been pretty much the unsung leader of this team stretching back to last season. He's definitely been involved with trying to help guys out, you know, definitely provide knowledge to guys, you know. And so leadership has been key, especially in the locker room. So he's been a really good leader for this team. Now, looking at, you know, his size and his ability to score, you know, he is 6'9", 221 pounds. So he's got the size to be able to attack the basket. You know, he can definitely spread the floor. Now, and I'm going to get into the negatives behind that. Now, he can shoot. You know, he can definitely sit out there and stretch the floor, man, and definitely hit from the perimeter. But getting to the more the negative side of that is he can be a little too dependent on his jump shot, especially his 3-point shot. As you look at, you know, the fact that, you know, he did shoot 33.6% from 3 points. So the league average is around 35%. So, you know, a lot of that has to do with attempts. You know, there's times where, you know, he had a lot of attempts, especially from perimeter. So I think with his 3-point percentage going down had a lot to do with so many attempts and really relying too much on the jump shot. Now, that did change in the second half of the season where, you know, we know he was that scorer, but we wanted to see how he could be a distributor, a guy who can make people around him better. How he can put people around him in better positions to eat for themselves, right? How to get other people's involved. Because, look, Kyle Kuzma is definitely a scorer. I mean, the second year in a row where he averaged 20+, averaging 22 this season. So he definitely was the number one option to score. You know, he could definitely score, you know, utilize his size, especially, you know, driving the lane, which I felt like he could have done more because why? Because he's a really good finisher. And 2, you know, by collapsing the defense, man, you know, a lot of people can eat on the outside, which is, you know, Deni, Corey Kispert, you know, Jordan Poole, a lot of shooters, you know, Patrick Baldwin Jr., the list goes on. So that's kind of what I challenge him coming up with this upcoming season, is that I want to see him, you know, obviously continue to be a dog offensively, but find ways to get other people involved, you know, definitely, because look, as we all know, the MO for the organization has to be development, scouting and development. And we've got to get these young guys developed, man. And we hope to have them as part of the foundation for when we, you know, get to that point where we want to contend. So, you know, we're going into year 2 of a rebuild. So Kyle Kuzma, definitely a scorer, man. Definitely, you know, he's definitely a guy who can score at a high clip. You know, he's definitely a leader. And so you know, those are two reasons why he should be considered the most valuable Wizard this seaon. Now, like I said, the negatives, obviously, ISO, is definitely a heavy ISO player, and the reliance on his 3-point shot. So, what impressed me most about his games that those were issues in the first half and at times the second half of the season, but he did change, his play style to a certain degree. He was getting other people involved. You definitely saw his scoring numbers come down a little bit as the scoring numbers of Deni and Corey Kispert and Jordan Poole got up. So it's definitely what you want to see from Kyle Kuzma going forward. If you look at his contract, it's a team-friendly contract. If you look at him from off the court, he's opened up businesses. He's setting up roots in the DC area. So it looks like all arrows are pointing him possibly being here to at least to end his contract. But also the fact that it is a team-friendly contract, he very well, and in his skill set, a lot of teams need a guy who can score 20 plus. Now, obviously, on a contending team, Kyle Kuzma will go from being a number one option to maybe a third or fourth option. But, teams are going to need a guy who can score at a high clip. So, definitely like what I saw from Kyle Kuzma in the second half of the season, and overall like him as a player. So, those are definitely reasons why you should, definitely consider him being the most valuable Wizard this season. So we're going to get to the other candidates. Turbo, a.k.a. Deni Avdija, and interim head coach Brian Keefe are definitely, we're going to get into the next candidates. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Nissan. So, are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. So they have 3 exciting products to talk about: the Rogue, the Pathfinder, and Armada. And tonight I'm going to talk to you guys about the 2024 Nissan Armada, because it will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 people, Lord, and first-class luxury in style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Nissan Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Pathfinder, or the Armada, and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Tonight's episode is also brought to you by Monopoly Go. All right, game off. We got to pause here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there's just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for timed tournaments, where you can work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you can unlock. Come on now. And there's so much to get. Unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash your buildings or heist the vaults. Oh. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or robot Pachinko machine. Oh man. And there's always new timed events that'll help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. So look, there's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Are you watching Fox Sports ESPN on your TV all day long? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? I do. Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. Our free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for your everyday to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming, right? Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. So let's get into the second candidate for the most valuable Wizard this season. And we're going to step into Deni Avdija, a.k.a. Turbo. Now, Deni, as you guys know, and if you don't know, you should definitely know that he had officially broken out this season as an offensive weapon for the Washington Wizards. As we know, Deni was definitely a guy where defensively he was a dog, man. He definitely was that guy you put on the best player on the opposing team. But, the piece of the missing piece of his puzzle was what? Offense. Could he develop a consistent offensive game? Last season, we thought he did, working with Drew Hanlon, and his 3-point shot percentage actually went down. But seeing that, he worked his tail off. He stayed stateside this year, worked his tail off, and it shows because this season he was a man on a mission, averaging 14.7 points a game, 7.2 rebounds a game, 3.8 assists a game, shooting 50% from the clip. And his 3-point percentage this year was 37.4%, up from that 29% for the previous year. So, man, he definitely broken out. He has broken out offensively. So let's go ahead and make the case for why he should be considered the most valuable Wizard this season. Well, I mean, number one, I mean, look at the fact that, I mean, he broke out. I mean, every area that we wanted him to work on, not every area, but most areas. Now, he does still need some work, but his 3-point shot is a lot more fast. His mechanics is smoother. I mean, he's less hesitant to take the 3-point shot. You know, that shows you what, or tells you what. He has high confidence. Deni Avdija has always been a player who his game really depends on confidence level. You know, especially his first 3 years, where, you know, when his confidence was high, you saw the potential. You saw why, you know, he was considered a prospect that, well, you know, was rated to go higher in the draft. He was in. You know, it's, you know, definitely a developmental piece, but a guy where if you develop him right, could be a high upside guy. Definitely an above average starter, maybe a fringe all-star, in my opinion, at the present place right now. Now, you know, offensively, he looked a lot, his confidence was a lot more higher. Now, obviously, when his confidence is down, you see that. You know, he's definitely a different player. So this season told me what? He worked his tail off. He came in with high aspirations to be a better player, and he did. Like I said, that 3-point shot to go from, I believe, 29% to 37%, which league average is 35, shows me that he's ready to take the next step offensively. You know, defensively, you know, a lot of people saying, and I get it to a certain degree, that people are saying that he took a step backward, but I don't know so much he took a step backwards defensively, where a lot of his focus this year was improving offensively. You know, he still was an above average defender. He still was a really good defender. So, you know, if taking a step backwards is, you know, you're still above average and a really, really good defender, what's I say? That he has been a elite level defender 3 previous years. So, you know, what's the biggest thing I'm looking for going forward from Deni Avdija? Consistency. Being a consistent 20 points a game score. I think, because I mean, that's the next level. I mean, his scoring percentage has gone up every year, and that includes his year with Maccabi Tel Aviv. I mean, every year since Maccabi Tel Aviv playing in Israel, his scoring percentage has gone up every single year. So, I mean, looking at it presently, he averaged 14.7. So, I think it would be crazy not to expect that his next step could be at least 15 to 20 points a game on a consistent basis. Now, obviously, you know, looking at that consistency, being a dog on both sides, because look, we know that he can score now. And I know if you're watching the show, Turbo, we know you can score. We know you can defend, bridge it together, make it official, be that complete 3-level 3-and-D guy, you know, who can definitely put in 15 to 20 points a game every night. A guy who, you know, you put on their best player defensively. And now you have other defensive guys like Bilal. You know, you can, you know, definitely want to see, you know, this defense get better, man, because, you know, we're starting to get guys who can defend. Now, hopefully, you know, that's one trait to look at in the draft, bringing more defensive-minded guys here who can also score. But, you know, we're going to talk about the draft. So looking at Deni, man, I think that, again, he should be definitely in consideration, just like a most improved player for the NBA. As far as Locked On Wizards, you should definitely consider voting for Deni Avdija, just like Kyle Kuzma, man, because he has shown that he was the most valuable Wizard this year. You know, just like Kyle Kuzma. Like I said, it's up to you guys to vote, but, you know, Deni made that step. You know, he definitely had a really good year. And, you know, other factors to look at, rebounding. He continued to be a dog rebounding. I mean, he averaged 7.2 rebounds. He did average 3.8 assists, so I definitely want to see that number get to at least 5. Because he, you know, again, showed great vision, his ability to pass. And like I said, you know, depending on the dominoes to fall and what we decide to do going forward at point guard, he definitely should be in consideration to be the secondary ball handler, in my opinion, because his ability to bring the ball up. And obviously, whoever the point guard is, whether it's Jordan Poole, whether it's Rob Dillingham in the draft, whether they bring back Tyus, you know, still a lot of things need to unfold. But obviously, the point guard going forward is going to be your primary ball handler. But Deni Avdija shows that he can thrive in that point forward position. So, you know, it's good to have another guy who can be a playmaker, who can bring the ball up and definitely get people involved with his vision, man. So, definitely consider him for most valuable Wizard this season. So we're going to get into the last candidate on the ballot for the most valuable Wizard this season, and it's interim head coach Brian Keefe. So I'm definitely going to do my best to encourage you to vote for Brian Keefe, just like the other 2 candidates. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by DoorDash. So as you guys know, Mother's Day is right around the corner. So if you look at DoorDash, they're not just a service that brings you food, man. They do a lot more. Want to make your mom smile? Start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from the brand she loves. Delivered this very same day with DoorDash. I'm trying to tell you guys because they up their game up. Moms are a gift, so give her the best this Mother's Day. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. Select from hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets to the best of tech to self-care essentials and more, delivered right to her door. Does your mom have a sweet tooth like mine? Is she a tech enthusiast, a beauty connoisseur, or is she an outdoorsy? No matter what she's into, you can make her smile with a fruit or flower bouquet, makeup, tech gear, workout wear, and a lot more. So get y'all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place. And get 50% off your next order up to $15 when you spend $15 plus on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with the promo code Locked On NBA. Again, that's Locked On NBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. So the last candidate on the ballot today for the most valuable Wizard this season is interim head coach Brian Keefe. And why should you consider voting for interim head coach and possibly the next head coach, Brian Keefe? Man, easy. The team rallied around him. He made the team better. He took every deficiency from Weston Sell Jr. and he made it better. What were the issues before he became interim head coach? Easy. Defense. What part of defense? Almost every daggone aspect of defense was pretty bad. I mean, we couldn't defend in transition. We couldn't defend the perimeter. We couldn't defend in the paint. We couldn't communicate on defense. I mean, our rotations were slow. Our closeouts were slow. I mean, there was no motivation, no dog, no effort, just no attention to the defensive side of the ball. Adjustments. His lack of adjustments at halftime and even in certain clutch moments. I'm talking about Weston Sell Jr. Adjustments were made by Brian Keefe that kept us in the games in the second half of the season. So, like I said, the lack of adjustments from Weston Sell Jr. led to, a lot more adjustments to where, he game planned a lot more. He wasn't stagnant with the lineup. He definitely took advantage of his personnel, putting his personnel in the best positions to be successful. And like I said, these guys rally behind him. He is a favorite in the locker room right now. I mean, what other areas they got better? Rebounding. And I think that not only is that attributable to Brian Keefe, obviously personnel. Marvin Bagley III, his acquisition from Detroit, he came in and he did well with our rebounding deficiencies. So I think a lot that has to do with not only Brian Keefe, the players, but it was a perfect union because the guys responded to him. He got a response. Defensively, you saw a lot more effort, a lot more attention. Rebounding was a lot better. And culture. I know y'all probably cursing me out right now, but culture. He kept us close in the games. We were playing really good teams, really close, and we were playing good basketball in the second half. And I think that not only should you consider voting for him for the most valuable Wizard this season, he should definitely be in consideration to be the next head coach of this team because he has gotten that response from the players. This guy, I mean, if you look at the fact that players like Kevin Durant give a lot of credit to Brian Keefe with his development, that's high marks from a guy who is a Hall of Famer, is a future Hall of Famer. So, you got guys who know what they're doing. Interim head coach Brian Keefe knows what he's doing. He's shown that. He's got a response for these players. He showed up every deficiency we had. And I think he definitely needs to be considered not only your vote for the most valuable Wizard, but to be the next head coach. And obviously, the fact that he's got David Vanderpool behind him, we definitely have a foundation for, this team to build the coaching staff going forward. Because again, David Vanderpool and Brian Keefe were both hired by the current front office. So they got their guys. So, move on. So these are three main candidates that you should consider when voting for the most valuable Wizard this season. So again, I definitely appreciate you guys, man. Like I said, I'm gonna pull up and I got it right here. So again, Friday night, everybody, we're gonna do a live award show. And like I said, I'm about to put the vote on the YouTube side, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the vote on the Twitter side. So definitely vote because I'm going to count your votes and we're going to give the awards. So obviously the first category was most valuable Wizard this season. The four other categories we have is the most improved Wizard, the best defender, the best bench Wizard, and the best Wizards move made by the front office. So those are the five categories. Again, the 5 videos this week are going to be about the categories and why I think you guys should vote for them. And then Friday night, we're going to chop it up like we always do, and we're going to hand out awards to the Wizards this year, man. And obviously after this week, we're going to have couple of special guests coming on this week. So definitely or no, next week rather. So definitely keep your eye out for that, man, because we're going to try to keep this thing rocking and rolling, man, going into the offseason. So obviously I'm going to do a lot more a little bit of free agency because I don't see us being very active, but I also want to do a lot of draft stuff. So we're going to dig into the draft because the last mock draft I saw had Zach Edey going to us with a 26 pick. Lord have mercy. So again, appreciate you guys, man. So definitely consider voting for all three of these gentlemen. Oh, no, you can't vote for all three, obviously, but definitely take into consideration, look at the ballots and look at all three. And I'm going to add in the other part, like most regular ballots. So there's going to be 4 choices. So again, I definitely want you to consider one of these 3 for the most valuable wizard this season. So again, I appreciate you guys, man. I will see you tomorrow night because tomorrow night we're going to look into who was the most improved wizard. Oh, Lord. So definitely tune in for that. So again, I appreciate you guys, man. So Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. So again, everybody, you have a blessed evening, and definitely we'll see you guys tomorrow night to talk about who was the most improved wizard this season. So appreciate you guys. Hail to the Wizards and peace.